My people, welcome to the Open Play Podcast. Today, I'm going to be your host, Ikenna, aka Real United IK, joined by my co-host today, Daye, aka Statman Foobs. That
Yes,
name
sir.
has not been cleared out yet, but hopefully
No,
Daye
it's not.
accepts it.
No, we're not going to. But
I'm not going to accept it.
no, we're not going to accept it.
Now, bro. Actually like that name. I'm telling you to call yourself Statman Daye for a long time, man. Like
We
Statman
can work
Daye
with
is
that.
cold.
That we can work with. I don't know about
Oh,
other
Statman
names.
Daye? Oh, mad
That's
now.
fine.
Okay.
I can work. I can work with us. I can work with us. I'm
Aye,
resident
nickname
statsman. I'm
Statman
resident
Daye.
statsman. Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that. Okay, Statman Daye,
Yeah.
not Statman Foobs. So
Yeah.
yeah, Daye, how you feeling, man? How you feeling?
Chilling, man. I'm sure. I think we'll be excited. We're talking about this for a bit, so I think I'm excited to finally get it all done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also follow us on social media. I'll be leaving the links in the description. But with that, let's just get into the episode, man. So today, we're starting with a bang. Today, we're starting with a very, very hot topic. Because today, we're going to be ranking the English midfield options into tiers ahead of the 2026 World Cup. Okay, so this is how the tier list is looking. As you can see, there's about 20 players on the tier list and there are 6 tiers. So there's Elite, Locks, 50-50, Wildcard, Fringe, and Injury Replacement. So Daye, I'm going to leave it to you to explain the tier list to the people.
So, in order to keep this fun and interesting, between elite and locks, our first two separations are going to be capped at 8 players. They can be 1 elite and 7 locks, they can be 2 elites and 6 locks, and so on and so forth. But in order to keep this an interesting conversation, we're only going to allow 8 guys in this conversation right at those top 2 zones. Everybody else fills out through the rest, and we just have the conversation. It's supposed to be fluid, it's supposed to be fun, and we can have it and talk it out. So let's get straight into it with our number 1 guy, Elliot Anderson. Ikenna, what are you thinking about him?
Elliot Anderson, for me, personally, elite. For
I
me.
can't even disagree with that. I can't disagree with that.
I feel like with any Thomas Tuchel team that you see, the Elliot Anderson profile of player is the most important profile in the whole team. You look at that Chelsea team with Jorginho and Kante. You look at his PSG teams as well. You look at his Dortmund teams as well. Like every team has this like profile of player, and I feel like this profile of player is what England have been missing all these years. Like, you know, that elite passer from deep, that elite playmaker from deep. Like, they've had Declan Rice in that position, they've had Jordan Henderson in that position, and these players are good. But I just feel like Elliot Anderson is kind of like the key, in my opinion. I feel like he's the most important player in this England team, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of important players, you know, Declan Rice, every other person, but Elliot Anderson is just a class act, and it's never just about his class, it's about his importance to Thomas Tuchel's setup.
I even feel like you're still underselling everything he does. Like we're talking about a guy 1.3 successful dribbles. That's in the 95th percentile. He gets you 8.5 recoveries. That's a 100th percentile. He is the leader in that category. You get all your progressive passing. You get a guy that can still beat his man. Like we're talking about like one of the elite metronomic midfielders who does everything. He carries an insane load. And if you slot this guy in with creative, more players that can have more tasks and duty, you're just going to get like an incredible player. Like absolutely, this guy is elite. Put him right in.
He's
I
an
have no problem
absolutely
with that.
elite player, bro.
I would make the scary case that he would be like my number 1 on the team sheet for English midfielders. And yes,
I'm not disagreeing, bro. I'm not disagreeing whatsoever. I just like Elliot Anderson, like I don't even know how to describe him in a way. Like you said, I undersold him. Like I watched that Nottingham Forest team and I watched them lose since Sean Dyche came and everything, and I'm just thinking that 10 of these players on this team right now deserve to be on the losing team. This guy right here does not. Elliot Anderson does not deserve to be on that losing team. This guy is honestly class. He has shown it for Nottingham Forest and he has shown it for England. And I just feel like you said, he should be the first name on that team sheet. He's the most important player for England, in my opinion.
Do not agree now.
Yeah, but Arsenal fans might disagree on that because of the next player, which is Declan Rice. Daye, what are you saying?
Oh man. Rice is a tough one, man. I think I'm
Mm,
going to put him in locks, not
mm,
because of anything outside of himself. I just think that a lot of what Rice does, as impressive as he is, can still be somewhat replicated, especially when you already have like an Anderson in the team and Bellingham who are going to get onto. So
mm,
less so because of his actual talent and more so because of his profile and what he offers. Of course, incredible eights, who crashes both boxes, intensely physical. Like we're talking about like one of the elite English midfielders in a
mm,
gen of like really, really impressive players that they can finally come through. This is the guy that probably gets really unfortunate. And I still think we'll still start games, but like for me, I think he's like a lock more than like a guy that it's like 100% set in stone, like he's on the plane for sure. But if you ask me to get my best starting 11, I have to ask the question if he starts. And I think that because there isn't a guarantee, I put him in locks instead of elite. But again, nothing against his fault.
ooh,
This is one of
ooh,
the
ooh,
elite English midfielders having a great year. Though I would argue that
ooh.
last year was even better.
Arsenal fans, just keep in mind that there is a Spurs fan. Just keep that in mind. So that if you guys want to come at him in the comments, you can come at him and just
I'm
say that
just
he's
saying.
biased.
I'm just
Honestly,
saying.
you know me, yeah. Then you know me and Declan Rice. I've told you my opinion on Declan Rice. I've told you how I feel about him as a player. I know that he's class. We're having the debate of if he is world class, and you came to the conclusion that he honestly is just world class. And I don't want to say I completely agree, but I do agree to an extent, right? Like let me not batter any Arsenal fans. I do agree to an extent. But there's some things that, are still kind of like missing in his game overall. However, though, I look at Elliot Anderson, right? And I feel like Elliot Anderson cannot operate without a player like Declan Rice. I literally made an episode like this on my channel and I talked about Elliot Anderson and I said that Elliot Anderson needs a player who I would like to call a mobile destroyer next to him. A player who, does the whole box to box thing, a ball winner, elite ball winner, wins the ball in the other half of the pitch, wins the ball in his own half of the pitch as well, wins the ball in all areas of the pitch, high pressing, stuff like that. And I just feel like when I look at this England team, when I look at this pool of players right now, there's nobody in this team that can do that to the extent of Declan Rice. There's nobody in this team that can, like, the only person that comes a bit close is Bellingham. But I just feel like at that elite level, I just feel like there's no other person that can partner Elliot Anderson the way Declan Rice can. And I feel like for that, Declan Rice has to fall under elite, in my opinion.
I am more than happy to give you this one and say that we put him in elite. I will just say that the crop of players that we're about to come on to may quickly change your mind.
Hmm. I mean, we can change our opinion, right? So, like,
No,
I'll leave
no
him in the
issue.
list for now.
No issue.
But yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. But I'll put him in the list definitely for now. Also, let's not like there's a lot of Arsenal fans. I don't want to. I don't even want to start an argument right now. The next one, interesting one. Morgan Rogers. This is a very interesting one. What do you think?
So I know like a lot of people are really high on Morgan Rogers,
Mm-hmm.
and I sit in a very high minority, a very high minority that just does not share the same impressions. Rogers, of course, is a very impressive finisher, but there are like been very real questions, especially in the stats community as to if a lot of his shooting and Villa in general, a lot of their shooting is sustainable. Villa are massively overperforming their expected goals. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have the number in front of me, but I want to say that expected goals and expected points has them as like maybe the 13th or 14th best team in the division. Of course, they've been far from that. Anderson, but Rogers is one of the big reasons for that. He scored 7 goals from 4.56 xg, including um 3 finishes outside of the box, including an absolute stunner he scored against
Against
West Ham
United.
United as well. Exactly. So he's like very impressive. I remember the goal he scored against Spurs as well.
Mm.
Um, all that said, we are still talking about a midfielder who I think is quite limited, especially in the creative aspects of his game.
Mm-hmm.
Just doesn't offer much there. He feels more like a second striker more than like a pure can. He's not a nine either. I don't think he has like the physical build for it. And he just needs a lot of space to operate in. Overall, outside of his goal scoring, I'm just not that impressed. And when we're talking about profiles of players, I do think that there are players that I just value a little bit more here. All that said, I would probably have him in the, I say 50-50. I don't want to be disrespectful because my mind
Ooh,
says,
you're going to take him
my
lower?
my mind said wild card, honestly. Like
Wow.
I'm just
Nah.
I'm just having the conversation to myself here. I'm like, what do I value? What do I think is important for this team? And we're going to get onto a few more players that I just think that I just value what they
Mm.
do more. I will respect him and respect the season he's having and say that he's in 50-50. I can be talked into wild card, but that's where I'm at right now.
You know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy?
Mhm.
Once upon a time, I strongly agreed with your opinion. Once upon a time, I looked at Morgan Rogers and I said, this guy does not have it. Like, he has a lot of qualities, his ball carrying, his goal scoring, but he does not have it. But watching him this season, there was a once upon a time, Aston Villa were struggling, right? And I watched them and I watched Morgan Rogers, and I feel like, just like Elliot Anderson, maybe not to the degree of Elliot Anderson, but just like Elliot Anderson, I felt like a lot of these players deserve to be on the losing team today, but not Morgan Rogers. I felt like Morgan Rogers sometimes is the only person trying to make things happen. And I think that to an extent, I downplayed how creative he actually is. I don't think he's like an elite creator, like, he's no Bruno Fernandes or Kevin De Bruyne or stuff like that. But I downplayed how good of a creator he actually is. I downplayed, like, just like, I just feel like he has more qualities that I let on, that I allowed myself to believe, right? And watching him more and more this season, I can't lie, I've been so impressed. Like you said, he massively overdoes his expected goals and everything, but also, like, that's just pure quality. Like, I look at a player like Cunha, who's the exact same. You look at his expected goals versus the goals that he actually scores for Wolves last season, and you're just thinking that, yes, like, can he keep this up? But at the same time, like, that's just pure quality, because you're seeing the goals that he's scoring for United this season, and you're thinking that obviously he can't keep this up. Like, this is the type of player that he is, this is what he does. So I just feel like with Morgan Rogers, like, he can bring something to this England team, something new, and something that Thomas Tuchel clearly values. Because at the moment right now, Morgan Rogers is a starter for England, I would say. That's under Thomas Tuchel, he is a starter, and I feel like Thomas Tuchel really values him. And honestly, I've grown to value him a bit more. So wildcard is crazy. I know you said 50-50. I'll never consider wildcard. 50-50 for me, I can agree with 50-50. I was good to put him in lock, but I'll agree for 50-50. But I was good to actually put him in lock.
I just can't see it. Like I said, we have an eight-player limit. We already have two guys in for sure. We're going to get to six guys, and we have, what is the number? 17 players to go. And I'm looking
Mm.
at a couple of these names that are coming up that I'm just like, I would much rather have that.
I
But I
mean,
understand where you're coming from.
I'm looking at the names as well, Loki, and I'm thinking like, like like there's a few, but who is going ahead of Morgan Rogers in this list? I mean,
Let's
wait and see. But
let's get there. Let's get there.
50-50 for now. I can take that. I can take 50-50. So the next player, a big one, very, 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 very big topic in the England national team, and that is Jude Bellingham. Daye, what are you saying, my guy?
Um, I would want to petition another tier just called Jude
Hmm.
above Elliot Anderson. I don't want to have a long conversation about this. Like we can keep
Hmm.
this very short and very simple. This is England's best midfielder. This is probably one of the five to six, seven best players on the planet at any given time.
Hmm.
Um, he is the heart, soul, engine of everything Real Madrid does, and he is what 22.
Mm-hmm.
He's 22,
Like 20,
and
22, 20.
yeah, he's 22, and he does everything in all phases of the game. Elite tackler, elite in duels, good dribbler, great creator, great finisher. Like this is England's best midfielder by long shots. And if he's in the team, he starts 10 out of 10 times. This is the best player, arguably, in the entire squad, with maybe the only conversation being had with like Harry Kane. That's it.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
So
They,
we don't have to waste time here, but we can because I love
I
Jude,
mean,
but
they,
we can if
you
we
know
want to.
me, you know me, no, you know me, you know me, you know what team I support, you know where my loyalty lies, and you know how much I love Jude. And when you're talking about the best midfielders on the planet, Jude is obviously there. Jude is one of the best midfielders on the planet. Jude is the best midfielder in this England team, probably. But, but, I just like elite, because you said like you made the joke of like above elite, Anderson and everything, and I'm even looking at him more like a lock than an
Yeah,
elite.
absolutely not. If I put my foot down on any of these picks, it's this one. This is
Mm,
England's best
it
midfielder by a
is. It
long shot.
is. It
I
is.
I like cannot overstate how incredibly good this player is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
Everything he brings to your team, he has
yeah.
he has the superstardom. He has the like I hate the word clutch when it comes to football. I don't think it's a real thing, but like he has all the like qualities of like the kind of guy that you just trust to come through for you when you need it. Does everything in all phases of the game.
Mm,
He's a leader. Like there's nothing this guy doesn't give you. I'm like
facts.
he's the guy. Like I cannot speak enough. Jude Bellingham is like the ideal. Like if you went into a lab and built a midfielder, this is what your answer would be. It's Jude Bellingham.
Mm,
And all action, all phase, creative leader, monstrous mentality. Another phrase I hate, but
mm,
just a guy that gets it in all phases of the game. A modern day superstar that's is elite at everything he does. If I have to put my
mm.
foot down on anything, it's this guy. This guy is elite. 100,
I
100%.
100% hear it. And honestly, when you're talking about like what he can bring to this England team, I think that he brings stuff that like other players I'm looking at don't necessarily bring. I know the mentality and everything, people hate that word, but just that mentality, just that like I'm a winner. Like we saw him, I can't remember the goal that he scored, that he was like, who else and everything. Like just that type of like big dog mentality. I feel like he brings that. I feel like when it comes to like Harry Kane and who can like, running behind when he does that whole dropping deep and everything, I don't think that anybody can bring it the way that Jude Bellingham brings it. I was just looking at it in the context of Thomas Tuchel, not even in the context of who is the better player, because if you're talking about the better player, then it is obviously Jude Bellingham ahead of every other person. But in the context of Thomas Tuchel, he seems to value Morgan Rogers more than he does Bellingham. And that can be a huge mistake on his part, but at the same time, like, Bellingham hasn't necessarily shown us anything, whether within the England squad or whether within Real Madrid this season, to say otherwise. Like, I'm not saying that Morgan Rogers is a better player. It's not even, like, they should even be in the same conversation, but in the context of England national team, and just what Bellingham has shown us overall. Like it's hard for me to like I know he's an elite, but it's hard for me to like just fully say, yeah, like elite no matter what and everything. But he is England's best midfielder, so I have to agree. I can't lie. I have to agree and I have to put him in elite as well.
That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I want. That's all I want.
Yeah, that's calm. That's calm. That's calm. So the next player on the list is Adam Wharton. What are you saying?
Oh, oh, this is tough, man. This is tough. 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 I want to say, I want to say 50-50
Mm, mm,
because I think Walton, I think when you have Rice and you have Elliot Anderson, you kind of already have what Adam Walton in the aggregate. Like, of course, you get all like the progression, deep line stuff. I don't think he's that good defensively. I think he's like fine. I think he
mm,
was a lot better last season. Um, you know, but you still get all the like the deep progression stuff, like,
yeah.
But I think when you have Elliot Anderson, you have a Declan Rice in the team, this is a profile that we're not screaming out for. And with five other spots, I would probably try and prioritize different kinds of players. So I'm just going to put him 50-50 for now, but I'm going to put an asterisk on his 50-50 because depending on where we end up, I might want to reevaluate this.
Hmm. I,
Yeah.
I, I agree. I agree with 50-50,
Yep.
and I agree with your point in terms of like I don't know what he exactly brings that they don't already have, but at the same time, like he is like an elite ball progressor. I'll say in terms of like just pure ball progression, not overall play, just ball progression. I don't know if the stats back this up, but I think that he's better
They
than
do.
Elliot Anderson in that aspect.
They're close enough, but I think Anderson's a bit better this season specifically.
This season, yeah. But I think that like we're talking about like who, like, if you just want someone to just progressive passes only, nothing else, I know that's impossible, but stuff like that, like, I
Yeah.
feel like Adam Morton ranks higher, and I just feel like he can bring something. I don't know what it's like. I don't know how much he can bring that is like, oh, he has to be like a lock or an elite or anything, but he can bring something different. And I've watched him for England. I've watched him this season for Crystal Palace as well. And he does have that, like, elite passing range. He does have a good work rate. I don't say like he's that great defensively, like you said, but his work rate is decent and he's an elite passer of the ball. So I think it's something that England can use. It's something that England can have in that team. Like, just consider it. And I think he should make the World Cup squad. So yeah, 50-50 is about right. I don't even know why I
Yeah.
decided to yarn all of that, man. 50-50
Yeah.
is about right. You're killing it right now. But the next player on the list is Kobe Mainu. And I've been asking you to, give your opinion first and everything. But now it's time for me to cook. It's time for me to lock in. Kobe Mainu, the most disrespected player on this planet. Kobe Mainu, the guy that Manchester United fans wanted to turn on for a manager that has not done anything for their lives. Kobe Mainu, that player. Like, how did we go from the 23-24 season where he looked like one of the best up-and-coming talents in the world to he's not even good enough to start in a dead Manchester United team? Like, how that happened, I'll never understand. Who it happened under, I'll never understand. And the scariest thing for me was not even that he got bent. The scariest thing for me was the United fans that were agreeing with it. And I'm not saying that any player is like undroppable. I'm not saying that any player should be undroppable. I'm saying that we're looking at a player who clearly brought like that X factor to our midfield, who clearly brought something that we hadn't had in a long time. And he was clearly one of the best upper-coming talents in midfield, at least in the Premier League, at least one of the best upper-coming players in the Premier League. And they not try to create this narrative that Kobe Mainu is a lazy player, which is honestly the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Because you look at the stats since he started playing again under Carrick, and there was this particular stat, distance covered out of possession this season for Manchester United, and Kobe Mainu ranked first on that, and that was the Man City game. That was his first game starting again. That, like, he hadn't been starting all season. He comes back against Manchester City and he ranks ahead of every single Manchester United player for distance covered out of possession, and that's who you're calling lazy. And there's just this misconception about lazy players, like, if a player is not the fastest player, if a player doesn't look like N'Golo Kante, then he's a lazy player. Like it's not all about like who can track back the fastest or who tracks back the most and everything. It is about who tries to do things out of possession in terms of like trying to create space, in terms of trying to create space for themselves and other players, trying to get on the ball as much as possible. That's what constitutes for a hardworking player, not who can track back the fastest and everything. And honestly, in the concept of England, I would say that it is a 50-50. Like, like this isn't Southgate anymore. So I would say it's a 50-50. I think other Southgate, it was a lock, but now it is a 50-50. What do you think?
I think 50-50 is about right. I think prior to Amorim getting sacked, I
Yeah.
would probably say that he was like a wild card fringe
Maybe even
kind of guy.
French. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
I
don't
don't
think he has ever
share.
been called up under Thomas Tuchel.
I don't think
I don't think so.
so. He
I checked
might
it. I don't
have,
think
but
he
like
has.
no, I don't think so either. I think you're a little higher on Menu than I am. I understand the appeal. A lot of the stuff he does doesn't show up in the stats, and even though I try not to be too big, like I am a stats guy, and like stats I know are not the end of the world, and sometimes you need to contextualize. Like I remember watching the City game, and a lot of people were really impressed with his play, and I guess maybe either I wasn't paying too much attention because I thought I was, or I kind of just missed a lot of the actions that's he was kind of succeeding in, but I didn't come away like with this like crazy takeaway in terms of him. But I think there's a player there somewhere. I think he's still a bit like rough around the edges. There's still a few things that we need to work out there.
Definitely.
Um, but I think 50-50 wild card is around the point where I'm kind of fine with
Mm.
him here. I I do think that we'll still get onto it. I think we'll still like reevaluate the squad as we're going along the way. I
Yeah,
still think there are some players that I would probably still have out of him here, and it would really take like a really, really, really good rest of the season for me to say that this is a player that has to be on the plane. Um,
yeah.
but
I
yeah,
mean, but
I
definitely
think
so
it's
far
fine.
so good though. Like 3 games
Oh,
in, I
100%.
think he has put in
100%.
good performances, and I think if he continues on this like plane, like he will
Yeah,
definitely be making that England trip.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh, I'm
think
fine with
50-50. But yeah, you're right. Like I feel like if not for Amorim, I even feel like he could have even fit injury replacement. Honestly, like if Amorim hadn't been
Yeah,
sacked, I feel
it
like he could have
was it
been an injury
was
replacement.
it was kind of dark for a bit there.
Yeah,
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. So
but we're back. We're back and we're eating. So the next player, Cole Palmer. This one is a big. This one is a big one, man. This one is actually a big one. What do you think?
oh man, you may not like my answer, man. You may not
Hmm.
like my answer, but
What are you saying?
uh I just want to look at this real quick about everybody else that we still have left to go. I think he's probably still a lock. Like
Mm.
I've not been that impressed with Obama this season, but like I'm going to give him like a little bit of leeway and like buy into like everything he's done in the past as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to like the player he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was looking at one of my mutuals on Twitter, Spencer Mossman, who's one of the bigger guys in the analytics community, who basically came to the conclusion, not the conclusion, but looked at the numbers and was like, a lot of the reason why Palmer is struggling is that he doesn't have a real striker in the team. When he had Jackson in the team, the production was kind of just better. The expected production was just a lot better. And I do think that is playing into his assist numbers, but I think on the season he has no assists in 13 games. So I'm not kind of worried. I'm not way too worried about the goal scoring, even though like it's not been completely there. But he hasn't just had a consistent season that you want out of like your elite
Yeah.
attacking midfielder. But all that said, I still think we are talking about like one of the better players in the
Players
division.
in the-
I think you're a lot higher on him than I am. Like I think you think he's like maybe like he has like the chops to be the best player in the division. I
Yes.
don't I don't buy that at all. Um, I don't buy that one bit. But like we're still talking about like one of the better especially central attacking midfielders um on the planet and maybe the central but like the hybrid winger attacking
Yeah.
midfielder like type. So I still think that, this is a guy that you take on the plane regardless. But I think Knox is about fine. 50-50 feels a bit harsh, but I do think that the form is justifiable to say that, had there been like one more player in this list, I would probably be like, yeah, 50-50 is about where we are. But I find Locks.
Eh.
I think Locks is where we're at.
With the locks here, because of the image I have in my head of who is making that plane, it's hard for me to put Palmer in locks. Like when you're talking about Palmer, like you say, you're talking about like a player who has shown it in the past. Like the idea of Palmer being a one season wonder is the craziest concept in my head, in my opinion, because I feel like that what he did in that 2024 season, that's probably one of the best debut seasons I've ever seen. Me, Ikenna for not the like who which one happened in 1995. I was not born then. One of the best debut seasons I've ever seen. What do you mean in your first season in the Premier League you have 22 goals and what was it 13, 15, whatever, how many assists? Like why are you having those crazy numbers in a dead Chelsea team? And I feel like with Palmer, I feel like there's some players who are just like destiny changers. And what I mean by that is that like players who this is like XG, but in terms of like teams, like where you expect a team to finish versus where they actually finish. When they're looking at like, oh, the amount of goals that they score versus the amount of goals they should have scored this season, stuff like that, the amount of points that they get versus the amount of points they should have gotten this season. I feel like Palmer is that player to take it from you should have gotten 50 points to you get 60 points. I feel like Palmer is that type of player. That's what I mean by a destiny changer. That 24-25 season, he started off really well as well. He had like 14 goals in how many months? And Chelsea were looking like title contenders. This Chelsea FC that just played the deadest game against Arsenal were looking like title contenders because of Palmer, because of what he was doing. And you look at that Club World Cup, Chelsea are not Club World Cup winners. Like Chelsea are a good team, but they are not Club World Cup winners. But because of that performance in the final to shut PSG down, he made them Club World Cup winners. That is a destiny changer. So as you can see, I'm very high on Palmer. But at the same time, in the context of England, though, I think that he has lost his place as a lock. And I think that he's more in the 50-50 tier, just in the context of England right now. But that's because of the other players who I think can be a lock over him right now. And Morgan Rogers, unfortunately, is one of them. So I think I'll put him in 50-50. But if you want to put him in lock, I'm
I
not
think I'm fine.
disagreeing.
I'm fine with 50-50. Ultimately, another big thing is that we're still going to delineate this list again. We're still going to go over it one more time. And I think that it's kind of important that we give ourselves some flexibility. So I think I'm fine with putting in 50-50 just for now, and then we can kind of still work do it again.
Okay, 50-50 for Cole Palmer, but I agree with your thinking and I like it. So the next player is Philippe Foden. What are you saying about this guy?
Foden has had he's been fine this season. So we're looking at what I'm just pulling up the stats here. 7 goals, 2 assists. He hasn't had to do the creation. I mean, still doing the creation numbers are still pretty good, but he hasn't had to mass create. He's never going to mass create in the City team, but he hasn't been extremely relied on to do so with the emergence of Ryan Cherki this season. And City have bulletproof that midfield where you have so many different options in the midfield. So what his necessary abilities at any given time um dependent on what Pep sees on a game-to-game basis. Is it crazy that I want to say 50-50?
No, not even crazy.
I'm just not crazy about this season he's had. He's historically we're talking about one of the a former player of the year. We're not talking about any guy you just scored, but we have a 2-season run now where the performances are just kind of there. And he's not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. You can still argue that some of it is situational, and that this is what happens when you play for a Pep Guardiola team. But I'm just not kind of crazy about him at any given time. And I like having some flexibility, and this is one of those players where I'm give me the 50-50 first, and then let's reevaluate, and we can see what it is. I know it's a bit boring right now because we're not shooting out the hot takes and everything, but having that flexibility and walking up our way back to the, I think it's kind of a far more fun exercise than just saying, throw him in the meat or throw him in the logs.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that Foden is a system player?
I think systems player is a bit of a harsh word. I think that any player that plays at City is very what's the word? The requirements that are necessary to play at Manchester City are so much higher than at most clubs, just because number one, you need to be okay with sacrificing yourself for the team. You need to be ready and adaptable to different systems. You need to be giving your all at any given time and still understand that you may not start. And you just need to be tactically flexible, whether that be in formation, in role, or in position. Foden has played as a right winger, he's played as a left winger, he's played as a cam, he's done some of the deep progression stuff. He's played some even strange false line. We have a really big sample size of a player here that kind of does it a lot. System is kind of harsh, but I do so I still do think that I still think 80% of teams in the Premier League would sign him immediately and he'd be their best creative player. But if you're asking me the same question as to if can City survive without Phil Foden, I think we have a pretty long-ish runway that says they can. But then at the same time, the question is, can City survive without Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne? Which I don't know if we have the answer to that question. So I think you can make the arguments in a couple of different directions. But I just not he's not the player that's one player of the year, whereby how many years ago this was. I think it was
23-24.
23-24. And I wish we had that player because I think that that's the player that you probably says, even forgetting Knox, is probably Leeds. And we just don't have
that player went to the Euros and he didn't do much.
exactly. So I'm fine with putting in 50-50. And if we come back, and I think it's funny because I think we have a runway of like, because I think the next guy we get onto might be in this category as well, where we have a
Mm.
runway of like three of England's like cams that were just like,
Hmm.
I'm not that psyched about any of these guys right now, and it's about the two of the three who get like the best finish the end of the season. So I'm fine with 50-50. If you put him in locks, I'm fine as well. But
You
yeah, I
know,
think that's what
you
I'm
know
going
my
to.
thing with Foden, yeah? Like Foden, it's not even that he's a system player. Like you said, system player is a bit harsh. But Foden is a player with such specific requirements. Like in terms of, playing him in camp, for example, like he's not. I don't think that Foden is the most creative player ever. I feel like he's more of like that, like goal scorer. Like he's more of a
Yes,
goal scoring calm. Gets into good positions to be able to give an assist, but is not like a full on like Bruno where he's going to be creating chance after chance. He's not a Nico Paz who's going to be creating chance after chance. Like he is more of the guy that will be on the end of chances, right? And
yes,
he's so specific in terms of like if you're playing him in wing, you need specific types of players around him. If you're playing him in calm, you need specific kinds of players to be playing in CM. Like you need like an elite like progressive passer or something. Like you just need specific kinds of players to play around him. And I feel like with these kinds of players, the reason why they're labeled as system players is because like not every team has that like tactical freedom, or not every team has that patience for these kinds of players where it's like, I don't know what position you play. I don't know your best position. And I know that if I put you in this position, if I put you in right wing or left wing, I need to have this elite like overlapping fullback. If I put you in calm, I need to have a certain type of CM. And I just feel like sometimes these players can be so frustrating. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why his play doesn't really transfer to the England national team so well, because like it's not that he's a system player, but it's that like he just doesn't have, like he's just so specific. That being said, with Foden, I have to play devil's advocate. I'll put the guy in wild card. I can't bet. I'll be so real.
oh,
I'll be
I don't
so
know.
real.
I don't know, man. This is
I'll be
crazy.
so real. Like, if I
I
want to
don't
make
think
this
so.
more fun,
No,
and if I want to make play devil's advocate, I'm putting
no,
him in
no,
wild card.
no, no, no.
I mean, what is a wild card though? What is a wild card? A wild card is like he needs a big season in order to make
No,
the
no.
train, to make the plane. That's a
Wildcard,
wild card. I feel like Foden
wild,
needs a big season to make that plane.
no.
If I'm being so real, he needs a big rest of the season to make the plane.
He has England national team reputation. Like he's an England player.
Yeah,
Like
but
for
he's not
all
like
it,
he has done much when he has been called up for England.
I don't think it matters. Like I don't know how many caps he has off the top of my head. I'm kind of searching it up at the same time. Like there's just like enough track record here of a player that gets called up to England, whether that's under Tuchel and whether that's under Southgate. He's still like 25. Like he's going to get called up.
If he gets called
I
up, what
just
position does he play? What position does he play? Like if you're playing Foden in your team, what position do you put him in?
doesn't matter if he's just on your bench. Like doesn't matter.
It kind of
Doesn't matter.
does though.
I don't think it does. Like 45 caps is the number. Doesn't really matter. I don't think it does.
Hmm.
I don't think it does.
Hmm.
I think he's on your bench. If he's on your bench, I think he's on your bench because if there's 20 or 30 minutes left in the game, you bring him on, you stick him up wherever you can. You know, if whether that's like on some kind of like a wing position or like in the center, and you're just basically having him play against tired legs. It's one of the advantages of being like one of these bigger international teams where like you just have a deeper bench. So even if he's not a starter, like he's going to come on the bench. So
Hmm.
I I I I understand what you're trying to say because like I and again like we're going to go on to the next person here. Well, if anything, I think he's in a worse position than Foden, but
Hmm.
I still think this is a 50-50 player. Like I don't think this is a
Can I do something? Can I do something? And if you don't
yeah
agree, just let me know. Let me do
yeah
something real quick.
yeah.
Just look at the screen, and if you don't agree, let me know. Can we do that?
Um,
Because I'm looking at the
your
rest of the players. I'm looking at the players that are putting in
yeah
50-50, and not
yeah
that it's not even that,
yeah.
because I don't think he's better than Foden. Definitely, he's not better than Palmer. Definitely, but I just feel like the season that he's having compared to the other players and what he has done for England. I know he hasn't done much. I know he's not that experienced and everything, but just what he has been doing for England since Thomas Tuchel came in versus what the other players have done, I just feel like I can't put Rodgers in 50-50 and put Foden next to him. Like, do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like I think like I don't it's not my favorite, absolute favorite thing because I'm looking at 12 caps for England since 2024. And again, those things don't kind of matter ultimately because you're trying to
Yeah.
assemble the best team. Yeah, that's fine. I think we can. That's fine. We still need to pick names at some point. So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think that's fine. I think that's fine. I think on the merits of the season he's having, I think it's fair to put him in a lot. I think that's fine.
Mm. Okay, so let's move on to the next player who you have already kind of said where you want him to
Yeah, man,
be. Iberichi
I'm
Eze.
out, man. Like Enrique is a wild card. Like I'm out. Like
Yeah, yeah,
he's
I
out.
completely
I'm out. Like I just like I don't want to say he's a flop. Enrique is not a flop.
no
And like
flop.
these are one of the things where like it's very unfortunate, like the situation he's been put in because he's not playing for a number of reasons, some of which that we clearly just don't know. And it's been a very strange period where he's just like gone from being looking like a very important player on the squad to basically not having started a game outside of the Carrot game in the CL since like we were Portsmouth in the FA Cup. Like, and also have been fine. Like they've been fine. And of course, that's not really an indictment on him. It's more so a praise to how deep Arsenal now are. But like we're talking about a player that on the season all competitions has 5 goals and 3 assists, just doesn't play, whose 3 or 4 goals came against Spurs in the North London derby. You can see that I'm salty. It's whatever, I don't really care. Um, but like we just don't have anything here to work with. Like it hasn't been a very impressive season. He probably would have been better off staying at Palace at the time,
Or going
if
to
this was how the
Spurs.
season, or going to Spurs if this was how the season was going to plan out, because now he's just not playing. And if you're asking me, like, should I take Cole Palmer, who is playing, Phil Foden, who is playing, or Eberechi Eze, who is not playing, not producing, and like his team is just fine without him? I'm going to take the one guy that just is not doing anything. And we have to start putting guys in other categories.
Yeah,
Eberechi Eze is a wild card at this point in time. I need a really long runway up until the end of the season that shows me that, oh, okay, I'm wrong. But I'm fine with being wrong at the end of the day. But like we're not talking about somebody here that just makes sense. If you have Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers, and Phil Foden in the conversation, we haven't even got into who because we'll still readjust this
yeah,
again. But like at this point, I just feel more confident about all 3 of those players. And I think it doesn't really make sense to put a guy that's just not playing in the same
facts.
category as that guy. He's played 1,000 Premier League minutes just about. Like
Mm.
Morgan Rogers is on double that number. Like so I think I'm just out, like onto the foreseeable future. We'll
I
put
hear it.
him in the we'll put
I
him in the
hear it.
wild card and we kind of go from there. So
Because with Iberichi Eze, it's just like he was signed for Arsenal to bring that X factor. That's what Arsenal fans were crying out for. That's what Arsenal fans said that they needed. You ask an Arsenal fan right now, and they'll tell you that he has brought the X factor because he's got a hat trick in North London derby. I'm sorry, but Eze, and I've been on this wave even after the North London derby that Eze has not done enough at Arsenal. And if I'm being so real, like, and you can check the stats, you can go and check 97. I said this. I don't think that Eberechi Eze is going to bring that X factor to a team. Like, and he's definitely not going to bring it to a team like Arsenal. Like, I just don't feel like he has that mentality of that guy that brings that X factor. I don't think that he has that, like, I'm going to carry this team mentality. Like, and that's what you need to bring X factor. Yes, you need quality, but every player has quality. Look at almost every single player. Every single player has quality. Mason Mount freaking has quality, but who has the mentality to actually like change the fortune of that team? Who has the mentality to put that team on their back? And I just don't think that Eze has that. I don't think that Eze has done enough for Arsenal. I don't think that he brings that much to the England team, and he honestly just doesn't have that X factor. I know this sounds a bit harsh, but it's honestly true. And there's a reason why he's on the bench right now. There's a reason why when Odegaard came back to the team, he went to the bench because, like, if he's not bringing that much to the team, might as well play the guy that has been playing for Arsenal all this time. Might as well play your captain in the team because, if anything, it's like, oh, you should have been playing so well that at least you're debating, do we put Odegaard back in the team? Or if you put Odegaard back in the team, do you put Eze in the left? But it wasn't even a debate. It was straight up bench him and not
Yeah.
even play me for like 4 games straight or something like that. So he just hasn't done enough for Arsenal, and he's not that important to the England team to put him in 50-50, in my opinion. I think he needs
Yeah.
like a very big season to even
Yeah.
make the trip. So I think I'll put him in wildcard. Loki,
Yep.
I was going to put him in French, but wildcard is fine.
No. Wildcard is fine. I think
Wildcard is fine. I was going to put him in French because of this player right here, Jack Grealish. Honestly, if I'm being so real with you, Daye, what can Eberechi Eze bring to a team that Jack Grealish cannot? I just want to
I
answer
don't
that
know.
question.
I don't know about all that. Like,
No,
because this is kind
it's
of
a genuine question.
like sure. Like, I understand what you're saying. Like, I understand the general sentiment of what you're saying. Like, but I still think that like Ibrahim is like still a better player than Jack.
So Jack Grealish
It's
went to
crazy.
Everton. He has been playing well since he went to Everton. He has experience with the England national team. Played in 2022 World Cup. Played well in 2022 World Cup. He's a treble winner. He's a ball carrier. He's someone they can bring off the bench when you're trying to like hold a lead. He wins a lot of fouls. You look at the Premier League right now, he has won the most fouls in the Premier League. You bring on Eberechi Eze in what phase of the game? Like, do you bring him on if you want to get a win? Do you bring him on if you want to retain a lead? Like, when do you bring Eberechi on versus when do you bring Jack Grealish on? I feel like Jack Grealish, honestly, has to be on a higher tier than Eberechi Eze, which is why I wanted to put Jack Grealish in wildcard and put Eberechi Eze in French. If I'm being so real with you, I'm just being real. Arsenal
You and I
fans, you
may,
can hate me, but I'm just being real.
you and I may be on like completely two different spectrums of this because I'm like with Grealish, I'm at fringe right now. Like,
Hmm.
I get everything you've just listed out to me,
Mm-hmm.
but like I don't know how realistic it is depending on just off the basis of how deep this team is
Hmm.
for me to be like this is like even a wild card player. Like I can confidently say that no matter how good his run is the rest of the season, like I don't think Jack Grealish is going to make the national team. Like
Hmm.
I think you have better options. Even if like I think you'd go through like wildcard to me suggests the player that like I need a run of games to say okay, like you're back in the conversation. Whereas like Jack Grealish, so happy for you, great season, dude. We'll see you at the next friend. Like
Yes.
I'm just like I get it, like I understand everything you offer, like
Yeah.
everything you've just outlined is true, but I'm just like not there. Like
Hmm.
there's the and then the thing of it just not working as City has just kind of been like I'm just out on like Jack Grealish. Like fine, like he's cool, he does all this great stuff. I get all the appeal, but like I think he's another player that's with the right level of players and the right caliber of players, you can face everything he does in the aggregates. And I think that like that's a fringe player, if anything. That's just like, yeah, sure. Like
I
if
like
we
I
pour
like, I
you
like your reasoning. I like your
it's
reasoning.
not it's just it's like it's nothing against him.
Yeah.
Like I just think that's like if you told me like I understand what you're saying in terms of like if it's Emirates AJ versus Grealish in terms of like profile, like what like I'm not talking about quality, I'm talking about what does he bring. I agree with you that it's not that different, but I think Eberechi is like a much better player, and I think that that is that quality, him just being like a good to very good player, and Grealish being like a fine to like good player, just means that one is fringe and one is wild card. Like I do not think there's any world where Jack Grealish makes Indian national team as currently constituted, irrespective of anything that happens. I think that I think even as easy as a wild card, you can still talk me into it. Like I would still hear you out. I don't have the same adoration for Grealish in that regard. So I
I
I understand what you've just said, but yeah.
I hear it.
Um
When you put it like that, like in terms of like, yeah, Jack Grealish can do crazy things to the end of the season, but yeah, we'll see in the next friendly.
yeah,
I hear it.
yeah.
Honestly, I hear it. I hear it. I don't completely agree in terms of like, cause
Yeah.
like you said, like I know what Jack Grealish can bring to my team versus what
I
Eberechi Eze
agree.
can bring.
And I
But
completely agree. Like, and that's what I'm saying. There's a reason why Eberechi is at Arsenal and Jack Grealish is at Everton, and the
but
two of them are 30 years old. That's kind of the points we
I mean,
have here.
Grealish was in Man City just before though, so yeah.
And how did that end up for him?
I mean, he won the treble, shit, and it was very important to that treble winning team. So he ended up
And
quite
I
well, if I
agree.
say.
And I agree. But
Yeah.
like he's 30 and like we're just like, like
Hmm.
the trouble thing has been a while now. And like I'm a
Facts.
very big proponent of that being like a really good player that year. But like that's been a while now, and it's just been like, and he's not again, he's not a bad player. We're not talking about like this. Anybody who's in this conversation cannot be a bad. Well, I think there's one player on this list that's like categorically a bad player. We'll get onto that.
Hmm.
But not bad. Bad is a strong word. But like if you're in this conversation, you're obviously not a bad player.
Yeah.
But I think there's still levels to this at the end of the day, and I would say that he's just a fringe guy that if he gets called up, like a couple of things have happened. Like Morgan Rogers is not coming. Like Jude Bellingham is not coming. Like we need to start looking at the next pool of guys, and I just don't see it happening, irrespective of that. So
That's fair. That's
yeah,
fair. So the next player on the list is Jordan Henderson. And can I do something that will shock you?
I know what you're going to do. Please don't do it, but do it. Do it, but please don't do it. I know where he's about to
Can you see that?
go.
Can you see that?
No,
Can you see
no,
that?
no, 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 no.
Can you see that? I mean,
Please,
they let me
no,
no see.
no,
Wait. Before you start hating on my
no,
opinion, let me
no.
just explain
I know what you're going to
myself.
say. I know
Well,
what you're going to say.
I mean, it's just like it's just,
Mentality, he
no,
gets it.
wait, no, wait, calm. Calm. It's not even so. Yeah, mentality and all that. I like, yes, but I don't know. I don't know what it was, but recently, not even just recently, because I've always valued it, but recently, I've had an extra like sentimental value for experience and just what experience actually does to a team. Just what having like a player of this level who has done it at like I'm not saying that Henderson is like an elite player or anything like that because he's not. I feel like he has been on like a similar playing field for most of his career. But I just think that he has done it. He has played in so many great teams. He has played in the England national team when they were quote unquote on their best. And just looking at him this season as well, what he has brought to Brentford in terms of like right now, Brentford are competing for what top 7, top 8, or whatever. They're competing for Europe. I don't think that they'll be doing that without Henderson, and that's not a matter of like the quality that he brings. Because I think that he does bring quality. I watched him in the United game. He was looking like prime Xavi, but as anybody can do it against United, at least Amorim's United. But I just feel like he can bring that like leadership that they actually need. And I feel like when I'm looking at this team, I'm looking at a lot of young players, a lot of players who haven't necessarily done it on the biggest stage, like Elliot Anderson, like Morgan Rogers, like Adam Watson, and I'm thinking, won't it be nice to have Jordan Henderson there? Won't it be nice to have this experienced player who not only is coming because of the experience, but because he has actually been playing well for Brentford this season? Wouldn't that be nice? That's the way I'm thinking about it. What do you think?
I'm like so out of this. Like I know. So like in the midst of your monologue, I pulled up their most recent team, and I realized that he actually did get called up, and
Exactly.
that is enough for me to be like, this is a lock. But I'm not doing elite. I'm so sorry. I'm not doing
Fair.
elite.
You know what? You
I'm,
know what? I wanted to do something big, but
you're
I
not
see
even
I see your
serious.
point. I see your
This
point. I see your point.
I'm perfectly fine with taking him because I understand everything he offers. And this is the least I want to talk about literally any player. But
Fair.
like because like everything that needs to be said has been said, and I just don't think that this is a really interesting enough conversation. Um, but yeah, you take him because of like everything you've already just stated and having him in the squad. And I think he is still England. Actually, he's not. I think Harry Kane is captain now.
Okay,
But
this
like,
captain.
yeah, but I think they still do value him. I think Tuchel will value him, and I think that is fair enough to say that you take him. But like Locke is fine. I don't want to say,
Fair. No, that's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. The next player on the list is Curtis Jones, and uh, I like Curtis Jones a lot.
I don't like Constitution. I love Constitution.
He's such
I
a good player. He's such a good
love
player. I hate saying that about a
Constitution.
Liverpool player, but he's such a good player. And this season, just like Morgan Rogers, my appreciation for Curtis Jones grew. Like literally, like I didn't think he was this good because Magnus has told me, bro, Curtis Jones is like good, and I was like, brother, like this is just a Liverpool, Liverpool player, and I get it, you're a Liverpool fan, I get it, but he's actually good. He's not like crazy, but he's actually very good. Like he's very good on the ball. He has that like box to box quality where he can bring things in his own half and in the opposition half as well, and he's so good. Like I don't have too much to say on him because other than like he's very good, and I kind of downplayed how good he was in the past, and I truly was not familiar with your game. Except from that, I don't know. I don't know where he goes on this list, honestly, if I'm being real.
Um,
I think French. That I
no,
think
I think
I,
he's a
th-
wild card.
I think
I
if
think
he's a wild card, I think if he's a
no.
wild.
The thing about say if you think he's a wild card, and you think Grealish is a wild card. No, it's not true. It's just not true. It's not true.
A
It's
French
not true.
player is a player in my head that like he's a talented ass player like Curtis
Yeah,
Jones, like we just said, but it's just not happening no matter the season that he has.
like it's hard. Like because he just got called up to like their most recent, not the most recent team, but he played against Senegal 10th of June 2025. Like I
That's
still
a
do
long
think like
time ago.
yeah, it's a long time ago, but like when was the last time Jack Grealish was called up? Like he hasn't been called up in the last 12 months for sure. Like so I still do think that like we're talking about like two different like aspects where like there's one guy where like I for sure would take you if
Mm,
like things don't work out for like if Adam Watson is not coming, if I don't get Elliot Anderson, like you still need some progression and you
mm,
may still be able to find that in different places. But I think that this is a wild card player where like if Curtis Jones like if something happens in the open midfield and Curtis Jones just becomes this instrumental like all action like does every not all action but like the progression just runs through him and like Liverpool finishing like fourth or fifth or what's I think he'll finish fourth actually. But like finish fourth and like they're going to the Champions League and this and that. I think you have the real conversation because I think the difference between wildcard and fringe is wildcard is if everything goes your way. Like, do I have the conversation? Whereas fringe is like if everything goes your way, I still don't care that much.
mm.
And I just think that Curtis Jones, if he has a good rest of the season, and this might be a young player bias, which is funny because Eze is 30 and Grealish is 30, but there's something about like Eze that feels younger than Grealish. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know if
I
you
hear it.
understand.
I honestly hear it.
And it may be just like being in miles or whatever it is.
Might just be the
In like
beard.
high. It might just be the beard, but
Might
like
just be the beard.
it might just be the beard. But like I still think that Coach Jones is the kind of guy that's I don't know if he's a 50-50 because I can't guarantee that he was going to be there. But I can still say that like if everything pans out his way, I'm at least like having the conversation. Like we look at the last quarter and we're like, okay, who's left? Whereas like I think you get enough of the guys you're looking for before you start having the British conversation.
Hmm,
And I just think that's the difference.
I hear it. Also, I just
Yeah.
checked, and Eberechi is actually 27, not 30.
Oh,
So thank God, at least
so
like it's
so
not.
so yeah. So that's now
Thank God.
why have I been saying it's 30? I think I made that joke recently, and that's why I've been saying
Yeah, because like
that
Loki, like as you were saying, he's 30. I kind of agree because I just think it was like 20, like
yeah,
28, 29, but he's
he
actually like
feels 30.
27.
I'm so
So
sorry to all the Arsenal fans hearing me saying he's 30 and he's not
I
actually
mean, whether
30.
it's 30, whether it's 27, it's still not bringing anything to your team, bro. Like it's not like there's no difference.
Yes.
So I don't like.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
apologizing to nobody. Next one, Morgan gives words, and I don't want to spend too much time on this one. Honestly, I don't think it's that interesting of a topic. I think
Mhm.
I'll put him. I think I'll put him in injury replacement.
I had him in fringe, but I'm fine with injury replacement. I had him in injury replacement because there's one player that will be able to get also that I think is like an actual like we should not spend more than 5 seconds as it's just like an injury replacement. And I
Mm,
still think Morgan Rogers is like at least like 1.5 times better than that guy. So like I'm fine with
mm.
fringe, I'm fine with injury replacement. Like you can talk me inside of them. But in the
Yeah, just
spirit of the
looking at
definition,
yeah,
yeah, I think you're right.
yeah. I
I
just
think you're
think that
right.
there's so many players in that position. I feel like once upon a time, maybe he was in even wild card, but I just
Mhm.
feel like there's too many players in that conversation too. I think if somebody gets injured, if two people get injured, then maybe you start putting him in wild card. But yeah, right now
Yeah,
I think injury replacement.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So next player on the list, Conor Gallagher, a man to your own heart.
This is a fringe player. We have enough midfielders here that like I think so between Watts, so we have Watson, Meno, Henderson. Yeah, this is a fringe player.
Yeah,
This is a
I
fringe player. We don't need
I don't think there's a lot he can do that he
no,
makes that plane.
and I think part of the reason why he came to Spurs was because he wanted to give himself a better opportunity. Um,
Yeah.
Whereas like I kind of agree with his logic, but I think he went from like an injury replacement to a fringe player, and like that's what
That's
I
like
don't like.
literally I feel like that's all he did, you know. I feel like he went
That's
from injury replacement to
yeah,
fringe, like which is fair,
but
you
but
know,
I
he did bump up his level. So
yeah, but I like Gallagher, man. Gallagher is nice. Gallagher is
yeah, it's just
just his
I don't
wrong
even have anything
profile.
against him. I don't have anything against.
Is
I just have something against like Spurs signing him in terms of
I
like
agree.
what they actually needed.
I
That's
agree.
all I have.
No,
So
I agree.
it's like he's not the problem, but he
He's
is
no,
a representation of it.
it's right player. It's right person, wrong time. He's
Mm-hmm.
he gives you all the like classic intangibles like you get out of players like him, but it's like he's not a progressive midfielder, and like the team need a progressive midfielder, and he's not that. And for as long as he's there, he's just going to be representative, exactly as you said, of the issues that plague that team. So
Yeah.
French
What's his
stuff
best
are right.
position though? What do you think is his best position?
I think I think he's like an eight that gets to crash the box.
Mm.
And I've seen a couple of I think Kish of Lily White Lab has floated out the idea that he's a 10 who like if you put like the right players behind him, just because like you get all the high pressing, high energy stuff in the final phase, and like he's not in your progression, but that requires you to have like two real progressors behind you. So
Mm. Fair. Like
I think that
McTominay?
that's about right. Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
good comp. I think that's a good comp.
Okay.
I think
I
that's a
hear
good comp.
it. I hear it. So next player, Angel Gomez.
Injury replacement. Let's get to let's
Yeah,
look
let's
into it.
let like to shout
This
out
is
to
this
him though.
time.
Shout out to him because when Tuchel first came in, he was like a big part of the squad.
That's
Like I think those
fantastic.
first like 3 games, but that was a long time ago. But shout out to him though, honestly.
Shout out to him. That's great. Next player.
Well,
Like
I don't like that though. I don't like that. I don't like the way you're doing that. But fair.
there's what do you want to talk about
No,
Angel
I don't want to
Gomez?
talk about him. I'm just like there's a way I just like you know there's a tone to your voice that I don't like. But I
Like
hear it.
he's
I hear
like
it.
again like he's in the 20. He should be happy that he's in the 20. Shout out to
Yeah.
him for being in the 20.
Hey,
And he just
shout out
signed
to
for
him.
Wolves. And he just signed for Wolves. So he's going to get repeated.
Okay, so next player, James Garner. Shout out to James Garner, you know.
I love James Gunn. This
I
is like
love James Garner. Hmm.
is this
He's having a
so
very good
this
season for Everton, you know.
he's so good. I love James Garner so much. I love James Garner so much. He just does like all the right things, all the marginal like stuff like you just want out of like your midfielder. And you know, this is the kind of guy that ironically this is like a Jordan Henderson type where like you bring him into the squad because like all the intangibles are good, but like he actually plays. So, you know, um great like out possession player,
Mm-hmm.
like has been a big reason why Everton have been successful. They gave him a new contract recently. Um, but do I think he's like the Curtis Jones type where like
Mm-hmm.
I think he's another Flumes guy. And
Yeah,
this is funny because now our list is like actually starting to shape out and we're going to start making decisions
yeah.
because we have five guys and you need to still meet put three more people. And I think just eyeballing it, I don't think any of the other four guys are going to get there. So
Facts.
it might be time to start looking at who we start shopping around,
Yeah, honestly,
which is kind of nice.
let's just make this a bit
We
quicker
we
and
can speed
start
on this.
putting the players where they need to be because
Yeah, we can speed on
James
this.
Garner, I wish he was in Wildcard. I really, really wish he
No, he's
was,
not.
but
Oh,
he's
This is a
just
French
not.
player.
He's a French player.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Ruben Loftus-Cheek,
Injury
French.
replacement.
Ooh,
French injury replacement. I'm
ooh,
sorry, it's an injury replacement.
ooh,
It's an injury
ooh,
replacement. This is not even a French player. This is not a French player.
ooh. Is this the guy that you were talking about? Where you said
No, this
earlier?
it was actually Gomez, but like Loftus Cheek is just like they're
Ooh,
just like this is just like a very meh player. Like he hasn't
fair,
even played 1,000 minutes this season. Like
fair.
just does not just like is like the aspects of his game that are impressive is that he's like a pretty decent finisher. Like that's about does he's not going
Isn't
he's
he like a good
terrible,
ball carrier?
I guess. Like sure, like sure.
Fair, no fair. And it's
Yeah.
sad. It's sad for him, because
He's
when he
actually
came out of
30.
when he came out of the academy, he was
Yeah.
like the Cobham. He was like the Cobham guy. He was like, oh my god, you made it to this Chelsea team, like this team, like that's crazy. But now,
And I
he
and
fell
I
from
and in
grace.
my heart I really have like a really soft spot for these like bigger midfielders. These like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" midfielders who are like who drive. It's like this is like the Pogba. Like not he's not I know he's not Pogba, but like
Yeah,
Pogba was so fun to me. Pogba and Yaya Toure specifically was so fun
yeah,
to me
too.
because they didn't look like midfielders in terms of
Yeah,
like they weren't built like midfielders. They were really big, they were really tall, like so they're impossible to knock off the ball, but like they were so graceful on the ball. Pogba more so than Toure, because Toure was a lot more like he was a carrier, where Pogba did
yeah.
all the carrying and passing. And anyways, that has not worked out at all for Loftus-Cheek in that mode. Um,
You know what's so
but
funny though? I see the guy as a sports player.
God forbid.
One, bro, you guys said
God
Conor
forbid.
Gallagher. I feel like anything is possible. Trust me. I see,
Gallagher is
I
Gallagher is
see
like
Loftus
twice
Cheek as a Gallagher player, bro. As
Gallagher
a
is like
sports player.
twice Gallagher is like twice the player.
Actually, how old is
Honestly,
Loftus Cheek? How old is Loftus Cheek? There's still
he's
time, bro.
30. He's
He's 30.
30.
Is
He's
he actually
30.
30 or is he?
He's actually 30. I
Oh,
said
it's
it
actually
wrong.
okay. Okay, there's no time. There's no time.
He's actually 30.
There's no time.
He's
Ah,
actually
guy,
30.
I swear, if this guy was 27, he will be a sports player
Conor
by
Gallagher is
next season.
Conor Gallagher is 26 in 2 days. Like this is like the actual level of like what you should anticipate, not whatever the hell. Um,
Fair enough.
so
James
that's
Madison.
there's no timeline on Mad. So I think I texted you beforehand and I was like, we should put Madison just because of two reasons. Number one is that I don't actually know what the timeline is, and I don't know how realistic it actually is to say he's in this team. But he's been a player that has been called up by Tuchel before in the last 12 months. And I think that I think it's still worth having the conversation. However, I think this is like a fringe player. He's not injury replacement because I think he's better than every player that we have on the injury replacement
Yeah,
list.
sure, sure.
But he's definitely not wild card because I don't actually think he's going to play this season. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel realistic to play a guy that has not played in a year's time
Yeah,
at the World Cup in a
yeah.
sport that you can feel with somebody who actually played like tangible minutes. So I think this is
That's
like the
fair.
very definition of what a fringe player is.
That's fair. I hear it.
Yeah.
Alex Scott. I think injury replacement. Not
Yeah,
because
injury.
not because he's not
Yeah,
better, but just because I actually really like him. But
I do
I
too.
just think that there's too many players in that position, man. There's too
Yeah, I
many.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. So injury replacements, and you guys don't mind the order of the tier list. Like
Yeah,
I know
we'll
people
still need to
normally
go over
rank
that.
it like who is the highest 50-50, but I don't care. So the
Yeah,
last player on the list is Mason Mount.
yeah.
What are you saying? I think French.
Fringe
I
is
think injury
alright.
replacement
Yeah,
is a
there's a
bit
push. I think
disrespectful.
there's a push. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think like he's another player that's just going to benefit um out of Amorim just leaving. So it's
Hmm.
but at the
I'll
same
say
time he's just
otherwise,
not very
I'll
reliable.
say he's not going
You
to
think
benefit,
so?
and I feel like his time is coming. If I'm being real, I feel like under
Oh,
Amrim was the time that I actually felt like there was an advantage on his part. Like he was the best. He was one of the best players in that particular system. His only problem was that he couldn't stay fit. But now is like, is he a calm? Is he a winger? Like he's one of those other
yeah.
specific requirements kind of players, and I don't think that there's a lot of managers that have that patience for that. So I don't think that he's going to benefit now that
Hmm.
Amrim is gone.
I actually think that's a very good point. Actually, that's a very
Yeah, but
I,
it's not.
I, I'm actually almost tempted to put him in injury replacement because now I'm looking at the numbers back and I'm just like, actually, this is not very
I
impressive.
think I think
Yeah,
I think if we're putting mothers in French, we have to put mouths in French as well.
yeah, that's fine. I think that's fine.
Yeah. But we now have a big task on our hand because we still have 3 spots to fill in elite and locks. And
Yes.
I think the first one I'm going to do, tell me if you agree.
Yeah, I think that's the right call to be honest. I think Adam Watson almost certainly has done enough where it's like I still do think that that's a guy that should get on the game. Like
Yeah,
he's
same.
still he's still he's still really good. He plays, he's a neat progression. Having that kind of guy off your bench, especially if like something happens to Anderson or Rice, like he'll
Exactly.
slide in, does all the necessary stuff, and you can just instantly guys like that. So I think that's about right.
Yeah. So
Um,
next, I mean, you had a case for Palmer, and now that
yeah.
we're in this spot,
Now that we're in this sport, this is where we start. Like I think this is where you say that Palmer is definitely on the team. I think
I mean,
because
but
then
you're looking at Foden though. Is it Palmer and Foden, or is it Palmer?
I think it's Palmer folding because I'm looking at the rest of these guys here.
Hmm.
We have Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, Adam Watson, and Jordan Henderson, who fits like the 6'8" category of player. I know
Yeah.
they're not all six, I know they're not all eights, but like that, like non-tens basically.
Hmm.
You have like five of those. Now you're getting in the creative spark types, where
Mm-hmm.
I know they're not creative sparks, but do you think they make things happen basically? Whether that's
Mm-hmm.
like shooting or whatever it is. This is like where you just like take the two guys that do that the best, and
I hear it. I hear it. I hear it for
that's
Palmer especially because I just feel like
yeah,
you're looking at Bellingham, you're looking at Morgan Rogers. Those are the two cams that we have right now, and
yeah,
they don't have that final pass in them
yeah,
that that Palmer has. And I just think that there might be one or two games. There might be one or two games where England might need that final pass where they might sub out Harry Kane because he's not having the greatest game ever in the 88th minute and bring on someone like Ollie Watkins. And Ollie Watkins is someone that makes a lot of runs in behind. He needs that final ball who can provide it, Palmer. So when you're looking at who can bring something different to what we already have, Palmer is one. And Foden, yeah, I think Foden is another one. And I think
yeah,
Manu, honestly, being the only 50-50 player, it makes a lot of sense because I just
yeah,
think that he's so in between. He could potentially not go, but he could also potentially go. Like he's the literal definition of a coin flip. So I feel like
yeah, yeah.
that actually does make sense. Some people might see this. Arsenal fans are definitely going to see this and say that how is it in the 50-50, but I don't know. I just don't think that. I think that if I was to take between Eze and Kobe, I'm definitely taking Kobe because I already have Palmer, I already have Foden. I have other players who can play wing. What am I doing with Eze?
I think I think Eze is probably the only one that I could make now that we've done it out. Like I could probably say that maybe he's closer to 50-50 than he used to work hard. Just cause like it's next man up at that stage. Like if one of Palmer, Foden, Rogers gets injured,
Then we
like
move into
Eze is
50
the
50.
next. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like
No,
I'm
that's
fine
not
with
that
him.
I'm saying. I'm saying that like if Palmer,
Oh, you're
Eze,
saying
or
that oh
Foden,
you're saying
yeah,
that
if they
that
get
happens.
injured, then you move into 50-50. I just feel
That's fine.
like Thomas Tuchel has already kind of shown, he likes like he'll call him up and everything kind of, but at the same time, it's just like this is our own list. This is why we're making our own list, not Thomas Tuchel's list, right? So I think that in my head, he is honestly more of a wild card, and if one of them get injured, then sure, you can move to 50-50.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I like
I
this
think I'm
list.
kind of good with that. Yeah, I really like
Yeah.
this list. I'm trying to think if there are any not notable, but honorary mentions. I think I told you we're in these 20 are like basically the guys that were at because I think the left guys are left were like your Archie Grays, Jack Hinshelwood, um, this kind of category of like next guys up. Which way I don't think that is realistic for any of those guys to get called up. I think there's a name I'm missing right now. I'm really upset about, but anyways, besides the point. But yeah,
There's
this
still
is
the
I think is
2030 World Cup.
yeah,
So
and I think both of those guys are probably going to be in line. Although I think Isherwood is maybe 20. I've had a very terrible track record of guessing guys' ages. He's 20. Never mind. You see what I'm
brother,
saying?
like Jesus,
Never mind.
4 years?
Never,
You could not even do like two. 4 years is
never
crazy.
mind. Never
That's
mind. It's not like
crazy.
but there's a thing about some Brighton players just feel like they've been playing forever. Like he has 52 caps
I hear that,
already for
I
Brighton.
hear that.
So,
I hear
but
that.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
this
I like
is
this list.
this
I like this list.
so do I. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is where I'd be at as well. Yeah.
So that's our own. Us, we like this list. Let us know what you guys think about this list. Arsenal fans, I already know. I know. Now go through this comment section die. Like I know all of you are coming for Izzy and coming for us for putting Izzy in wild card. And honestly, suck your mom, bro. Like, for me, bro, suck your mom, bro. But yeah, let's know what you think about this list. Let's know what your England team is looking like, especially in that midfield. And yeah, what do you think about our first episode ever?
Yeah, just great fun stuff. I think we said we're going to do 30 minutes. This is not going to be 30
This is
minutes.
not 30 minutes whatsoever.
No, but it's kind of fun. It's a fun conversation to
Yeah,
have, and I think it was a great conversation just to
yeah,
map out what it looks like. And I think we'll ultimately be more or less right. I think we may get one or two wrong,
yeah,
but I think we basically got like I think wild card and up is basically the guys you're talking about.
yeah.
I think
I
that those
agree.
are the definite guys that are in this conversation, and we'll just see how it works out.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's our own opinion. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is a new channel. We need as many as we can get. But with that comes the end of this episode. Let's send you guys
So,
home and let's go home ourselves. And we just hope to see you guys in the next episode and the next and the next and the next. Tell your friends and tell your friends. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's say goodbye to the people real quick, man.
goodbye, good people. We'll see you next one.
Safe.